The Dreaded Woods, a bone-chilling adventure. Once upon a time, in a dense forest surrounded by tall trees and thick undergrowth, there lived a family of 3, a mother, father, and their young daughter, Lily. The family lived in a small cottage on the edge of the forest, and Lily loved nothing more than exploring the woods and discovering new secrets hidden in the shadows. One warm summer day, as the sun was setting, Lily wandered into the forest to gather wildflowers for her mother. She had ventured deep into the woods when she suddenly realized that she had lost her way. She called out for her parents, but there was no response, only the sound of rustling leaves and the distant hoot of an owl. Lily's heart raced as she tried to retrace her steps, but the forest seemed to have changed around her, and she found herself surrounded by darkness. The trees were twisted and gnarled, their branches clawing at the sky like skeletal hands. The leaves rustled ominously, and the wind howled through the underbrush. Lily wandered aimlessly through the forest, her tiny feet growing tired, her stomach grumbling with hunger. She called out for her parents, but no one answered. She searched and searched, but there was no sign of the path back home. As the night grew darker and the stars came out, Lily stumbled upon a clearing, illuminated by the light of a full moon. In the center of the clearing was an old, rusted gate leading to a large, eerie mansion. Lily's heart sank, and she realized that she was completely alone in the forest, with nowhere to turn. She approached the gate and peered through the bars. The mansion was shrouded in darkness, its windows boarded up, and the air was thick with a musty smell. Lily's skin crawled, and she felt as though she was being watched by something sinister. Suddenly, the gate creaked open, and a tall, shadowy figure emerged from the darkness. Lily's eyes widened with fear, and she tried to run, but the figure was too fast. It grabbed her by the arm and dragged her inside the mansion. Inside, Lily found herself in a dimly lit room, filled with eerie shadows and strange objects. The walls were lined with dusty books, and the air was heavy with the scent of old incense. In the center of the room, on a large ornate table, was a glowing crystal, pulsating with a mysterious energy. The shadowy figure loomed over Lily, and she trembled with fear. But then, to her surprise, it spoke. "Do not be afraid," it said in a deep, gravelly voice. "I mean you no harm." Lily looked up at the figure, and to her astonishment, she saw that it was not a monster at all, but a kindly old man with a long white beard and twinkling eyes. The old man introduced himself as the guardian of the forest, and he explained to Lily that the forest was full of dangers and that she was lucky to have stumbled upon his mansion. He offered her shelter for the night and promised to help her find her way back home in the morning. Over the course of the night, Lily learned that the old man was a powerful sorcerer, tasked with protecting the forest and its inhabitants from dark forces that lurked in the shadows. She listened in awe as he told her tales of ancient spells, enchanted artifacts, and fierce battles against evil creatures. As the night drew to a close, the old man led Lily back to the gate and bid her farewell. He promised to keep a watchful eye over her as she journeyed back to her home. Lily set out into the forest, her heart full of wonder and amazement. The trees towered above her, their branches reaching out like fingers, beckoning her to explore deeper into their midst. At first, she wandered along the well-worn path, enjoying the sunlight that filtered through the leaves and the soft rustling of the undergrowth beneath her feet. But as the day wore on and the sun began to dip below the horizon, the forest began to change. The trees grew taller and closer together, their branches twisting and knotting together like a tangled web. Shadows crept across the forest floor, and the once bright colors of the leaves began to fade into a deep, murky green. Lily's heart began to race as she realized she had lost her way. She called out for her parents, but only the echoes of her own voice came back to her. As she stumbled through the darkening forest, she began to hear strange sounds all around her, whispers and murmurs, like voices just beyond her hearing. Something brushed against her leg, and she looked down to see a thick, twisted vine wrapping itself around her ankle. Panic set in as she tried to pull free, but the vine only tightened its grip. She cried out for help, but no one came. And then, just when she thought all hope was lost, she saw a faint light in the distance. With renewed hope, she struggled free from the vine and ran towards the light. But as she drew closer, she realized that it was not the warm glow of a campfire, but the cold, blue light of a moonstone. A sudden, bone-chilling scream echoed through the forest, and Lily froze in terror. She wanted to run, but her feet were rooted to the spot. And then she saw it. A figure emerged from the shadows, its form twisted and grotesque. Its eyes glowed with an otherworldly light, and its skin was the sickly green of decay. Lily wanted to run, to hide, to do anything to escape the horror that stood before her. But then she heard a voice, gentle and kind, whispering in her ear. "Don't be afraid," it said. "I'm here to help you." And with that, the figure reached out and took her hand. Lily felt a surge of warmth and comfort, and she knew that everything was going to be okay. As the figure led her out of the forest, the trees began to part, their branches reaching out in a final farewell. And when they emerged into the clear light of the moon, Lily turned to thank her savior. But there was no one there. Only the empty darkness of the forest and the echo of that gentle voice in her mind. If you like short stories like this, please like the video and subscribe to my channel.